Under the blazing Texas sun, traffic on Highway 83 ground to a halt not from an accident, but because of a tiny, wild force that refused to move. A young bobcat kitten stood firm in the middle of the road, desperate and unyielding, bringing drivers to a complete stop. Officer Sarah Winters, seasoned and sharp, had dealt with many unusual calls over her 11 years in the Texas Department of Public Safety. But this was something she had never encountered before. As she approached the frightened animal, she noticed something unusual, a small metallic device strapped to its leg. That moment marked the beginning of a mystery that would lead them deep into the wilderness and uncover a remarkable story of survival, trust, and the unbreakable bond between human and wild. The summer heat warped the air above the endless stretch of asphalt. Cars and trucks moved sluggishly, caught in a growing jam on the highway's shoulder. Passengers snapped photos with their phones, their curiosity piqued by the tiny bobcat pacing nervously between lanes. Sarah eased her cruiser to a stop, her eyes scanning the scene. A man in a faded Dallas Cowboys shirt was keeping onlookers back, sweat dripping down his face. "Officer Winters," he said, wiping his brow, "that little bobcat's been trying to cross the road for about 20 minutes. It runs out, then bolts back like it's scared, almost like it's trying to get someone's attention." Sarah felt a chill despite the heat. She had responded to calls about wildlife before, but animals usually fled the highway, not lingered. Something about this kitten's behavior was off. Stepping carefully to the median, Sarah spotted the kitten, dusty, spotted, no older than a few months, but frantic in its movements. It wasn't just lost, it seemed purposeful, almost desperate. Raising her binoculars, Sarah's eyes caught a glimmer of metal. A tracking device, but not the kind she'd seen before. This one had a blue marker different from the usual wildlife collars. Within minutes, a white pickup pulled up the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. Dr. Stephen Mitchell, a weathered biologist with sharp eyes, joined Sarah. He examined the device closely, muttering in disbelief. "That's not ours," Stephen said. "Wildlife tags usually go around the neck. This looks like an emergency locator, like the ones hikers carry." Sarah's heart raced. Why would a wild bobcat have a hiker's emergency beacon strapped to its leg? A quick call to Fortress Ridge State Park confirmed the strangest possibility. Robert Whitley, a 42-year-old experienced outdoorsman and wildlife rehabilitator, had gone missing during a solo hiking trip. His campsite registration matched the number on the bobcat's tag. It was a puzzle no one could have predicted. The bobcat wasn't just a wild animal, it was connected to this missing man. Robert specialized in rehabilitating big cats, and Sarah realized the bobcat might be more than just an animal wandering the road. It could be trying to lead them to Robert. Equipped with first aid supplies and backup en route, Sarah and Stephen followed the bobcat into the dense forest bordering the highway. The temperature dropped beneath the shade of oak and juniper. The bobcat kept a steady pace ahead, glancing back as if to make sure they were following. Along the trail, fresh boot prints, men's hiking boots, size 11 or 12, confirmed they were on the right track. After about a mile, they found a clearing disturbed by broken branches and scattered belongings, a water bottle, torn backpack strap, and dried blood. The bobcat's frantic calls grew louder as it led them to the edge of a steep ravine. Peering over the ravine, Sarah spotted a figure trapped beneath a fallen tree. It was Robert, pale and weak but alive. Nova the bobcat nuzzled him gently, and a faint smile crossed his lips. Stephen quickly assessed Robert's condition: compound fracture, possible concussion, dehydration. Yet Robert was conscious and stable. When Sarah asked what had happened, Robert explained that a sudden lightning storm had caused Nova to bolt, and a weakened tree had trapped his leg. Unable to reach his emergency beacon, Robert attached his location marker to Nova's harness and hoped she'd find help. Robert's trust in Nova was extraordinary. Raised by humans from a kitten, she had learned to associate roads and people with safety. "She's not just wild," Robert said softly. "She's a bridge between our worlds." The rescue team arrived soon after, carrying medical gear and stretchers designed for ravine extractions. Nova stayed close, watchful but calm. Sarah found herself deeply moved by the connection between Robert and Nova, an unspoken language between man and animal that transcended instinct. Weeks later, Sarah visited the Austin Wildlife Rehabilitation Center, where Robert worked. There she met Nova again, now larger, stronger, and thriving under the careful care of Robert and Dr. Mitchell, who was documenting her rehabilitation for a research project. Nova was not a typical wild bobcat. Her ability to navigate both wild instincts and human contact was rare. They were creating a new program, a wildlife ambassador initiative for animals like Nova, who could educate the public about conservation and the complex relationship between humans and wildlife. Nova's story captured hearts across Texas and beyond. Her image appeared on a new conservation license plate, and the governor's office invited Robert and Sarah to a special ceremony honoring their extraordinary rescue. Visitors flocked to the newly opened Wildlife Ambassador Center, eager to learn about animals caught between worlds, wild yet familiar, free yet connected. Nova became a symbol, not just of survival, but of hope and understanding. As Sarah stood watching Nova bask in the afternoon sun, she realized something profound. This wasn't just a rescue story. It was a reminder that wildness isn't a simple line, it's a spectrum, filled with unexpected connections and stories waiting to be told. And sometimes, the smallest voices, like a tiny bobcat kitten on a busy highway, can change everything.